Steam rises from my morning tea as I sit on the wraparound porch of my mountain cabin, watching deer graze in the meadow below. This place cost me everything: 7 years of saving, working double shifts as a nurse, skipping vacations. But every penny was worth it for this peace. My phone buzzes against the wooden table. Mom's name flashes on the screen. "Good morning, sweetheart. Your father wants to discuss something important with you today. Can you come for brunch?" Her voice sounds too cheerful, the kind of fake happy she uses when she's hiding something. I should have known then that trouble was coming. The family restaurant buzzes with weekend noise as I slide into the booth across from my parents. Dad's already ordered for me pancakes with extra syrup, like I'm still 12 years old. "So," he says, cutting straight to business, "your sister Jennifer needs a place to stay." My coffee cup freezes halfway to my lips. "What do you mean needs a place?" Mom jumps in quickly. "Oh, honey, it's just temporary. Her landlord is selling the apartment, and with 3 kids, she can't find anywhere affordable." The way they're both avoiding eye contact tells me this conversation was planned before I even walked in. "We were thinking," Dad continues, folding his hands like he's in a board meeting, "your cabin has all that extra space for bedrooms, and you're just one person rattling around in there. The restaurant suddenly feels too warm. Dad, I worked 7 years to afford that place. It's my sanctuary." Mom reaches across the table, patting my hand. "But family comes first, doesn't it? Jennifer's children need stability." Before I can respond, the restaurant door chimes. Jennifer walks in with her 3 kids trailing behind her, their backpacks already packed. My stomach drops. This wasn't a discussion, it was an ambush. "And Sarah." 8-year-old Tommy runs over, bouncing with excitement. "Mom says we get to live in your big house with a tire swing." His younger sister Emma tugs on my sleeve. "Can I have the room with the window seat, please?" Jennifer slides into the booth, her smile too bright. "I hope you don't mind. I already told the kids. They're so excited about living in the mountains." The trap closes around me perfectly. How do you say no to excited children who've already been promised something? Dad signals the waitress for more coffee, acting like everything's settled. But my hands are shaking with anger I'm trying to hide. "When exactly were you planning to move in?" I ask, my voice carefully controlled. Jennifer exchanges a look with Dad. "Well, actually, the moving truck is coming tomorrow morning. We have to be out of our apartment by noon." My heart pounds in my ears. Tomorrow. They've made all these plans without even asking me properly. "I mean, it's not like you use all those rooms anyway," Jennifer adds with a laugh that doesn't reach her eyes. "And the kids will love having space to run around." The children are already discussing which bedrooms they want, their innocent excitement making this whole situation so much harder to navigate. The pancakes turn to cardboard in my mouth as reality sinks in. 7 years of sacrifice. Working holidays, missing friends' weddings, driving a beat-up car while saving every dollar. All so I could have my own space after growing up sharing everything with Jennifer. She got Mom's wedding dress, Dad's old car, the family piano lessons I wanted. Now, she wants my sanctuary too. How long is temporary? I managed to ask. Mom and Dad exchange another look. 6 months, Dad says. Maybe 8, depending on the housing market. 8 months. Nearly a year of my privacy gone, my quiet mornings destroyed, my refuge invaded. The thing is, I say slowly, setting down my fork, I never agreed to this. The table goes quiet. Jennifer's smile falters. "What do you mean you never agreed?" Dad said it was fine. I looked directly at Dad. Did I say it was fine? His face reddens slightly. "Well, we assumed family helps family." The familiar guilt trip phrase that's controlled my decisions for 35 years. "But you assumed without asking me," I point out. Jennifer's voice rises. "Are you seriously going to leave your own nieces and nephews homeless?" The other diners are starting to stare, but I don't care anymore. I'm done being the family pushover. I pull out my phone and scroll to a photo I took last week. "This is my meditation corner," I say, showing them the peaceful reading nook I created by the window. "And this is my art studio." Another photo of the spare room where I paint watercolors every evening. I work night shifts at the hospital, saving lives for 12 hours straight. When I come home, I need silence to recharge. Jennifer rolls her eyes. Oh, please, you can still paint with kids around. But she doesn't understand. After watching people die, after holding sobbing families, after making life-or-death decisions all night, I need absolute peace to heal my soul. Look, Dad says, his voice taking on that stern tone he used when we were kids. We're not asking for much. Just family helping family in a crisis. I stand up from the booth, my chair scraping loudly against the floor. A crisis that could have been avoided with proper planning. Jennifer's eyes narrow. What's that supposed to mean? I count on my fingers. 1. You knew your lease was month to month. 2. You had 3 months' notice about the sale. 3. You didn't start apartment hunting until last week. The truth hangs in the air between us like smoke. This isn't a crisis. It's poor planning expecting to be rescued by me again. My phone rings, cutting through the tension. It's Dr. Martinez from the hospital. Sarah, I know it's your day off, but we have a major accident coming in. Can you come in early? I look around the table at my family's expectant faces, then at the children coloring on napkins, innocent in all this drama. I'll be there in 30 minutes, I tell Dr. Martinez. As I hang up, I grab my purse. Emergency at work. We'll continue this conversation later. Jennifer calls after me as I head for the door. Sarah, the moving truck comes at 8 a.m. tomorrow. Don't make this harder than it has to be. The mountain road to the hospital winds past my cabin, and I slow down as it comes into view. My sanctuary sits peaceful among the pine trees, morning light streaming through the windows I installed myself. Last year, when I was sick with pneumonia and needed help, none of them visited. Too far to drive, they said. When I was promoted to head nurse and wanted to celebrate, they were all busy with Jennifer's kids' soccer games. But now, suddenly, my remote location is perfect for their needs. I pull into the hospital parking lot, my phone already buzzing with texts from Mom. Please reconsider. The children are counting on you. The emergency room is chaos. Car accident victims, worried families, beeping machines. But somehow, this feels calmer than breakfast with my family. Here, at least, people appreciate what I do. During my break, I call my friend Lisa, the only person who knows how much this cabin means to me. They just assumed I'd say yes, I tell her. Like my space, my hard work, my peace of mind don't matter. Lisa's voice is firm. Sarah, you have every right to say no. You've earned your sanctuary. But even as she says it, guilt gnaws at my stomach. What kind of person says no to homeless children? My shift ends at midnight, and I drive home through the dark mountain roads. The cabin's motion sensor lights welcome me like old friends. Inside, everything is exactly as I left it, quiet, organized, mine. I make chamomile tea and sit in my meditation corner, trying to imagine it filled with toys and children's voices. The thought makes my chest tight with anxiety. This place saved my sanity after my divorce 3 years ago. When David left me for his secretary, when I thought I'd never trust anyone again, these walls held me together. Now I'm supposed to give that up because Jennifer made bad choices? My phone lights up with a group text from Dad. Family meeting tomorrow at 10 a.m. We need to finalize Jennifer's moving arrangements. There it is again, that assumption that my agreement is just a formality. I stare at the message for a long time, then type back. I haven't agreed to anything yet. Within seconds, my phone rings. It's Jennifer, crying. Sarah, please. The kids have been through so much with the move. They're so excited about the tire swing and the mountain. Her tears sound real, but I remember her using the same crying voice to get out of chores when we were kids. Where's their father in all this? I ask. The question hangs in silence before Jennifer admits, he's behind on child support again. I can't count on him for anything. Another piece of the puzzle falls into place. This isn't just about her apartment. She's broke and sees my cabin as a free solution. Jennifer, I work night shifts. I need quiet during the day to sleep. 3 kids running around. She cuts me off. They'll be at school most of the day. And I'll keep them quiet, I promise. But I know Jennifer's promises. She promised to pay back the $5,000 I loaned her 2 years ago. Still waiting. Unable to sleep, I walk out to my deck and stare at the stars. City lights never reach this far up the mountain, just pure darkness dotted with ancient light. This view costs me everything, but it's worth every sacrifice. My phone buzzes with a text from Mom. Your sister is desperate. Sometimes we have to put family before our own comfort. Comfort. Like this is just about having nice things, not about survival. After 16 years of nursing, watching families torn apart by tragedy, I know how precious peace really is. Some people never get to feel truly safe in their own space. I finally do, and they want to take it away. Morning comes too soon, and with it, a knock at my door at 7 a.m. Through the window, I see Jennifer's van packed with boxes and the kids pressed against the glass, looking excited. She didn't wait for the family meeting. She's here now, ready to move in whether I agreed or not. I open the door in my pajamas, hair messy from sleep. Jennifer, what are you doing here? She pushes past me with a suitcase in each hand. The apartment complex changed the move-out time. We had to leave early. It's a lie, and we both know it. This is her strategy, show up and force my hand. Kids, go pick out your rooms. Jennifer calls out before I can speak. Tommy and Emma race up the stairs, their footsteps echoing through my peaceful house. Little Marcus, only 4, clings to his mother's leg, overwhelmed by the new place. Jennifer, stop, I say firmly. We haven't talked about this properly. She spins around, eyes flashing with anger. Talked about what? Family helping family? This is what normal people do, Sarah. Normal people. The insult hits exactly where she intended. Like I'm selfish and weird for wanting boundaries, for protecting the sanctuary that keeps me sane after holding dying patients all night. The sound of my dresser drawers opening upstairs makes my blood boil. Tommy, get out of my bedroom, I shout, racing up the stairs. I find him in my master suite, jumping on my carefully made bed with his muddy shoes. Mom said this is our house now, too, he says innocently. Jennifer follows behind me, unapologetic. He's just excited. Kids will be kids. But this isn't about kids being kids. This is about respect for my space, my boundaries, my right to say no. I gently lead Tommy out of my room and lock the door. This room is off limits, I tell Jennifer firmly. And actually, this whole house is off limits until we have a proper conversation. Jennifer's mask finally slips. Fine, be selfish then. Let your own family live in their car because you need your precious quiet time. She herds the kids back downstairs, but I can hear Emma crying about the pretty room with the window seat. My heart breaks for the children who are caught in the middle of their mother's manipulation and my need for boundaries. From my bedroom window, I watched Jennifer load the kids back into the van, their confused faces pressed against the glass. Marcus waves at me sadly. This is the hardest part. Disappointing innocent children because their mother won't respect basic boundaries. An hour later, Dad's truck pulls into my driveway. He gets out slowly, his face dark with anger. What the hell is wrong with you? He shouts before he even reaches the porch. Your sister is sitting in a parking lot with 3 crying children because you're too selfish to help family. I meet him on the front steps, my nurse training kicking in, stay calm under pressure. Dad, she showed up here without permission and tried to move in without asking. That's not how this works. His face reddens. You have 4 bedrooms and live alone. It's wasteful and selfish. Wasteful. 7 years of sacrifice, and he calls it wasteful. Do you know what I did to afford this place? I ask him. I worked every holiday for 5 years. I ate ramen noodles for dinner so I could save for the down payment. I drove a car with no heat for 3 winters to make my mortgage payments. Dad waves dismissively. Everyone makes sacrifices. That doesn't mean you get to abandon family when they need help. But where was family when I needed help? When David cleaned out our bank account and left me with nothing? When I had to rebuild my entire life from scratch? They were busy with Jennifer's drama then too. Always Jennifer's needs coming first. My phone rings. It's my supervisor at the hospital. Sarah, we have a situation. 3 nurses called in sick and we're getting trauma cases from a highway accident. Can you come in? I look at Dad's angry face, then at my peaceful cabin behind him. I'll be there in 20 minutes, I tell her. Dad follows me inside as I grab my scrubs and car keys. Running away to work won't solve this, he says. Your sister needs help now. I turn to face him. Dad, I help people every single day. I save lives, comfort families, work until my feet bleed. But I need this place to recover, so I can keep helping. Don't you understand that? For a moment, something flickers in Dad's eyes. Maybe understanding, maybe just surprise that I'm standing up to him. But it passes quickly. Family comes before work, he says, falling back on the old guilt trip. Your mother is heartbroken that you'd choose strangers over your own blood. I grab my stethoscope from the kitchen counter. The strangers don't take me for granted, I say quietly. They actually appreciate what I do. The words hang in the air as I head for the door. Behind me, I hear Dad muttering about ungrateful children and changing times. But I don't look back. The trauma bay is controlled chaos when I arrive, 3 critical patients from the highway accident. For the next 6 hours, I focus on saving lives, starting IVs, monitoring vitals, comforting terrified families. This is what I do best, what gives my life meaning. During my break, I check my phone to find 17 missed calls and dozens of texts. You're tearing this family apart, from Mom. The kids are asking why Aunt Sarah doesn't love them, from Jennifer. Last chance to do the right thing, from Dad. The emotional manipulation is overwhelming, but I recognize it now for what it is, control disguised as love. My colleague Maria sits beside me in the break room. You look stressed. Family drama? I tell her about the morning's events, about Jennifer's assumption that she could just move in. Girl, you work your ass off in this place, Maria says. You deserve your sanctuary. Don't let anyone guilt you out of what you've earned. Her words are simple but powerful. I have earned this. Every night shift, every missed holiday, every sacrifice, it all led to my peaceful cabin in the mountains. Why should I give that up because Jennifer didn't plan ahead? Why am I always expected to be the solution to everyone else's problems? When my shift ends at 7 p.m., I drive home through mountain roads bathed in golden sunset light. My cabin waits for me, windows glowing warmly in the gathering dusk. No moving trucks. No crying children. Just peace. But as I pull into the driveway, I see Jennifer's van parked on the road nearby. She's inside with the kids, probably hoping I'll feel guilty seeing them there. My phone immediately rings. Sarah, we've been waiting here for hours, Jennifer says, her voice exhausted. The kids are hungry and tired. Please just let us stay one night while we figure things out. One night. The same lie she told when she borrowed my car for a quick errand and kept it for 2 weeks. I walk to the van and tap on the window. Emma looks up at me with hopeful eyes. Are we going to live in the pretty house now, Aunt Sarah? My heart cracks a little, but I stay strong. Sweetie, your mom needs to find a different house for your family. This house is just for Aunt Sarah. Jennifer gets out of the van, her face desperate now. Sarah, please. I'll do anything. I'll clean, I'll cook, I'll stay out of your way. Just please don't make us sleep in the car. Where are all your friends? I ask. What about your boyfriend Marcus mentioned? Jennifer's face flushes. We broke up last month. And my friends, they all have small places, kids of their own. The truth emerges slowly. Her support network has collapsed because she burns bridges wherever she goes. What about a shelter? I suggest gently. There are family programs. She cuts me off angrily. A shelter? You want your own nieces and nephews in a homeless shelter while you live alone in a 4-bedroom house. The guilt hits like a physical blow, but I force myself to stay strong. This manipulation has controlled me my whole life. I want my nieces and nephews to have a mother who plans ahead and takes responsibility, I say quietly. I want them to learn that actions have consequences and that you can't always expect other people to fix your mistakes. Jennifer's eyes fill with tears, real ones this time. I know I messed up, okay? But they don't deserve to suffer for it. She's right about that part. The kids don't deserve this chaos. But giving in now won't teach Jennifer responsibility. It'll just enable her to make the same mistakes again. There's a hotel in town, I offer. I'll pay for 3 nights while you figure out a real solution. Jennifer stares at me like she doesn't recognize her little sister anymore. When did you become so cold? She asks. When I realized that being warm meant letting people walk all over me, I reply. It's the truest thing I've said all day. I go inside and write a check for 3 nights at the Mountain View Inn, plus money for meals. When I hand it to Jennifer through the van window, she takes it without thanks. Mom and Dad will never forgive you for this, she warns. And neither will I. The van pulls away, taking the crying children with it. I watch until the taillights disappear around the curve. Inside my cabin, the silence feels different now, not peaceful, but heavy. I heat up leftover soup and sit in my meditation corner, trying to find calm. The sunset through the trees is spectacular as always, but tonight it feels lonely. My phone stays mercifully quiet for the first time all day. Maybe they've finally given up trying to change my mind. Or maybe they're just regrouping for another assault tomorrow. Either way, I've made my choice. The hardest part is knowing it was the right choice even though it feels terrible. 3 days pass in blessed quiet. I work my shifts, come home to silence, paint watercolors in my studio. The guilt gnaws at me constantly, but so does relief. No toys scattered across my floors. No children's shows blaring from my TV. No one using my shower, eating my food, disrupting my carefully maintained peace. On Thursday evening, my phone rings. It's Jennifer, her voice different, smaller, less demanding. The hotel money is almost gone, she says. But I found a 2-bedroom apartment across town. It's not much, but it's ours. The deposit is due tomorrow. How much do you need? I ask, already reaching for my checkbook. $2,000 for deposit and first month's rent. I pause, pen hovering over the check. This is the pattern. I set a boundary. She finds another way to get money from me. Jennifer, this is the last time. I say firmly. After this, you need to handle your own finances. She's quiet for a moment, then says something that surprises me. I know. I've been thinking about what you said, about planning ahead and taking responsibility. Maybe you're right. It's the closest thing to an apology I've ever gotten from her. The next morning, I drive to the bank and then to Jennifer's new apartment. It's small and outdated, but clean and safe. The kids are playing in the empty living room, their voices echoing off bare walls. It's not as pretty as your house, Emma tells me, but Mom says it's our special place. Jennifer meets me at the door, looking tired but determined. Thank you for the deposit money, she says quietly. And thank you for not letting us move in. I blink in surprise. What? She manages a small smile. If you'd said yes, I never would have been forced to figure it out myself. I needed to grow up. We sit on the apartment's front steps while the kids explore their new home. I've always expected you to fix things, Jennifer admits. Even when we were kids, you were the responsible one, the one who cleaned up my messes. The evening air is cool, different from my mountain breeze, but pleasant in its own way. I got a job interview next week, she continues. Night shift at the packaging plant. It's not glamorous, but it's steady work. For the first time in years, she sounds like she's thinking ahead instead of just reacting to crisis. Maybe my boundary setting forced her to grow in ways that always helping her never could. A week later, I'm back in my cabin's kitchen making dinner when my phone rings. It's Mom, her voice cautious.
Hi, sweetheart.
How are you? We haven't spoken since the family meeting disaster. I'm fine, Mom. How are you? There's a long pause before she says, Your father and I have been talking. Maybe we were too pushy about the Jennifer situation. It's not quite an apology, but it's progress. We just worry about families sticking together, she continues. But we forget sometimes that you're an adult with your own life. The acknowledgement feels like a gift I never expected to receive. Jennifer got the job at the packaging plant, Mom continues. She seems different somehow, more settled. I smile, stirring pasta sauce on my stove. That's wonderful news. We talk for a few more minutes about safe topics, my work at the hospital, her garden, Dad's golf game. When we hang up, the conversation feels normal for the first time in months. Maybe setting boundaries didn't destroy my family after all. Maybe it just forced us all to be more honest about our expectations and limitations. The pasta is perfectly al dente, and I eat dinner watching deer graze in my meadow. 2 months later, I'm painting in my studio when I hear cars pulling up outside. Through the window, I see Jennifer's van and my parents' sedan. My chest tightens. Are they here for another intervention? But when I open the door, the mood feels different. Jennifer holds a covered casserole dish, and the kids carry handmade cards. "We brought dinner," Jennifer says with a shy smile, "to say thank you for forcing me to grow up." Emma hands me a card with a drawing of our family. "You're the purple one because that's your favorite color," she explains. Even Dad looks sheepish as he helps carry groceries from his car. We eat Jennifer's surprisingly good lasagna on my deck, watching the sunset paint the mountains gold and purple. The kids play quietly with toys they brought, respecting my space without being asked. "I never said thank you properly," Jennifer says, as we clear dishes. "For the deposit money, for pushing me to be independent, for not enabling me anymore." Dad clears his throat awkwardly. "We owe you an apology, too. We should have supported your right to say no instead of pressuring you to say yes." Mom nods, touching my arm gently. Families should respect boundaries, not bulldoze through them. After they leave, I sit on my deck in the gathering darkness, wrapped in a quilt my grandmother made. The stars are brilliant tonight, undimmed by city lights or family drama. My phone buzzes with a text from Jennifer. "Thank you for loving me enough to say no. I'm finally learning to stand on my own feet." The words make my chest warm with something I haven't felt in years, pride in my sister instead of frustration. Setting boundaries wasn't cruel after all. It was the kindest thing I could have done, even though it felt terrible at the time. 6 months later, my cabin hosts its first real family gathering. Jennifer brings her famous potato salad. She's become quite the cook since being forced to fend for herself. The kids have grown and matured, understanding now that visiting Aunt Sarah's house means following Aunt Sarah's rules. Dad and I discuss the hospital expansion project, his business mind engaged with my professional challenges. Mom helps me plant bulbs in my garden, something she's never shown interest in before. "This place really is special," she admits, looking out at the mountain view. "I understand now why you needed to protect it." As evening approaches, they pack up to leave. Jennifer lingers on the porch, watching her kids chase fireflies in the meadow. "I'm proud of you," I tell her, "for building a life for yourself and the kids." She smiles, different now, confident in a way she never was before. "I'm proud of you too, for standing firm when we all tried to bulldoze you." We hug goodbye, and for the first time in our adult lives, it feels like a hug between equals instead of between the giver and the taker. Her van disappears down the mountain road, taillights winking between the trees. Inside my quiet cabin, I make chamomile tea and settle into my meditation corner with a book. The silence feels perfect again, not lonely, but peaceful. Tomorrow I work another night shift, saving lives and comforting families. When I come home exhausted, this sanctuary will restore my soul so I can do it all again. The mountain breeze carries the scent of pine and possibility through my open windows. Setting boundaries didn't make me selfish. It made me stronger, healthier, better able to help others from a place of choice rather than obligation. Sometimes saying no is the most loving thing you can do. My phone chimes with a goodnight text from Jennifer. "Kids are asleep in their own beds in our own apartment. Still can't believe we made it work. Sweet dreams in your beautiful sanctuary." I text back a heart emoji and set the phone aside. The mountain night settles around my cabin like a comfortable blanket, filled with the sounds of wind in pine trees and owls calling across the valley. This peace, this sanctuary, this sense of home, I nearly gave it all away to avoid disappointing people. But sometimes the most important person not to disappoint is yourself. A year later, I'm featured in the local newspaper's Healthcare Heroes section, standing proudly in front of my cabin. The article mentions how my mountain sanctuary helps me recharge between life-saving shifts at the hospital. Jennifer frames the article and hangs it in her apartment kitchen. "My sister, the hero," she tells her kids. the one who taught me that love means having boundaries. The kids understand now that Aunt Sarah's house is special, that it takes hard work and sacrifice to build something worth protecting. They visit often, always respectful, always grateful for the privilege of sharing my peaceful space. This morning, like every morning for the past year, I sit on my deck with coffee and watch the sunrise paint the mountains in shades of gold and rose. The deer still graze in my meadow, undisturbed by human drama. My meditation corner still offers perfect silence for processing the weight of life and death decisions. My art studio still provides creative outlet after nights spent holding grief-stricken families. This sanctuary I fought to protect has made me a better nurse, a better sister, a better person. Sometimes the most revolutionary act is simply refusing to give up the things that make you whole. The house phone rings. It's the hospital calling about a position opening in our pediatric unit. As I discuss the opportunity, I watch a hawk circle over my meadow, riding thermal currents with effortless grace. Like that hawk, I've learned to navigate life's challenges without losing my sense of direction. The conversation ends with me agreeing to interview next week. Whatever comes next, I'll face it from this place of strength and peace. The cabin that cost me everything has given me everything back, including the confidence to know that I deserve the life I've built. Jennifer calls during my lunch break to share exciting news. She's been promoted to supervisor at the packaging plant. "Remember when you used to fix everything for me?" she asks. I thought that was love, but real love was making me figure it out myself. Her voice carries new authority, the sound of someone who's discovered her own strength. "The kids and I are planning a camping trip next month," she continues. "We're finally learning to create our own adventures instead of expecting them to be handed to us." Her growth fills me with the kind of pride that comes from watching someone you love become their best self. That evening, I host dinner for my hospital colleagues, Maria, Dr. Martinez, and 3 other nurses who've become close friends. We eat grilled salmon on my deck as stars emerge in the darkening sky. "This place is magical," Maria says, raising her wine glass. "To Sarah, for creating a sanctuary that feeds all our souls." We toast to friendship, to boundaries, to the courage it takes to protect what matters most. Later, after everyone leaves, I clean up feeling grateful for the community I've built, people who appreciate rather than take advantage of my generosity. Tonight, as I write in my journal by lamplight, I reflect on the past year's lessons. Setting boundaries didn't cost me my family. It transformed our relationships into something healthier and more honest. Jennifer learned independence, my parents learned respect, and I learned that love without limits isn't actually love at all. The mountain wind rustles through pine boughs outside my window, a lullaby that never gets old. Tomorrow brings another night shift, another chance to help healing happen in the world. But tonight, in this sanctuary, I refuse to surrender. I am exactly where I belong. My journal entry concludes with a quote I heard at a nursing conference. "You cannot pour from an empty cup." For years, I poured and poured until nothing remained for myself. Setting boundaries with my family taught me to refill my own cup first, making me infinitely more capable of helping others. The irony isn't lost on me. By becoming more selfish about protecting my sanctuary, I became better at selflessly serving my patients and community. The pediatric unit interview goes better than expected. Dr. Peterson, the department head, asks about my mountain cabin during our conversation. "Having a peaceful retreat must help with the emotional demands of pediatric nursing," she observes. I nod, explaining how my sanctuary allows me to process the weight of caring for sick children and their frightened families. "We need nurses who understand the importance of self-care," she says with approval. "Burnout is our biggest challenge in this unit." By the interview's end, she offers me the position. My boundary-setting journey has led to the career opportunity I've always wanted. 3 months into my new role, I'm sitting with the parents of a 7-year-old cancer patient. Their exhaustion mirrors what I used to feel when everyone expected me to fix their problems without considering my own needs. "You have to take care of yourselves, too," I tell them gently. "Take shift sleeping, ask for help from friends, accept meals from your church. You can't pour from an empty cup." The father looks surprised. But shouldn't we focus completely on Emma right now? I shake my head. Emma needs parents who are strong enough to support her through this fight. That means protecting your own well-being too. Later that week, Jennifer visits with exciting news. She's enrolled in night classes to become a certified medical assistant. Watching you stand up for your career inspired me, she explains over coffee on my deck. I realized I've never had a real profession, just jobs I took to get by. The kids play quietly in my meadow, having learned to respect the peaceful atmosphere here. I want them to see me working towards something meaningful, Jennifer continues. The way you've always worked toward your dreams. Her transformation from crisis-driven to goal-oriented fills me with pride. The seasons change around my mountain sanctuary, each bringing its own beauty and lessons. Spring brings wildflowers and renewed energy for helping families navigate medical crises. Summer brings long evenings sits on my deck, processing the emotional weight of pediatric nursing. Fall brings golden aspen leaves and reflection on how far we've all come since that disastrous family meeting. Winter brings snow-covered peace and gratitude for the warm sanctuary I fought to protect. Through it all, my cabin remains my anchor, the place where I restore my soul so I can give my best to the world. On the anniversary of Jennifer's attempted move-in, my family gathers for dinner at my cabin. But this time, it's planned, welcomed, celebrated. Dad carves the roast beef with the same precision he once used to slice through my objections. Mom serves vegetables while praising Jennifer's progress in her medical assistant program. The children, now a year older and wiser, help set the table without being asked. To Sarah, Dad raises his wine glass, for teaching us that love means respecting boundaries, not bulldozing through them. The toast feels like the formal end of our old dysfunctional patterns. After dinner, Jennifer and I walk to the edge of my property where wildflowers grow thick in summer meadows. Do you ever regret saying no? She asks, watching her kids chase lightning bugs in the gathering dusk. I consider the question seriously. Never, I answer honestly. Saying no to you moving in was the best thing I ever did for both of us. She nods, understanding now what felt like cruelty a year ago was actually courage. I'm glad you were strong enough to stand firm, she says. I needed to learn that my emergencies weren't automatically your responsibilities. As my family prepares to leave, each goodbye feels different than before, warmer but also more respectful. Emma hugs me carefully, mindful not to wrinkle my work uniform hanging nearby. Tommy thanks me for letting them visit your special house. Marcus, now 5, asks if he can come back next weekend to see the deer. Jennifer promises to call before their next visit rather than just showing up. Mom and Dad shake hands formally, acknowledging that our relationship has evolved into something more adult and equal. They drive away into the mountain darkness, leaving me with peace instead of guilt. Tonight, I stand on my deck under a canopy of stars, breathing in pine-scented air and listening to the distant sound of an owl calling across the valley. The silence isn't lonely, it's full of possibility, restoration, and deep contentment. Tomorrow brings another shift in pediatrics, another chance to help children heal while maintaining my own emotional health. My phone sits silent on the kitchen counter, no longer buzzing with family crises that somehow always become my emergencies. The boundary I drew in the sand has become a foundation for healthier relationships built on mutual respect rather than one-sided sacrifice. My journal entry tonight captures a year of profound transformation. I learned that saying no to the wrong things creates space to say yes to the right things. I said no to being taken advantage of and yes to being appreciated. I said no to crisis management and yes to careful planning. I said no to guilt-based decisions and yes to boundary-based relationships. Most importantly, I said no to sacrificing my sanctuary and yes to protecting the peace that makes me a better nurse, sister, daughter, and human being. The mountain wind carries my words into the night sky, where they join the ancient wisdom of stars. 6 months later, I receive an unexpected award from the hospital, Outstanding Pediatric Nurse, for my work with families in crisis. Standing at the podium, looking out at colleagues who've become dear friends, I think about the mountain sanctuary that makes this all possible. Self-care isn't selfish, I tell the audience. It's essential. We cannot give our best to others unless we first protect what restores our souls. After the ceremony, Maria hugs me tightly. Your boundary-setting journey inspired all of us, she whispers. We've all gotten better at saying no to things that drain us, so we can say yes to things that matter. The final scene takes place on my deck at sunrise, exactly 2 years after that fateful family brunch. I sip coffee from my favorite mug, watching deer graze in the meadow that almost became a playground for someone else's children. My phone chimes with a text from Jennifer, graduated top of my class, starting my new job as a medical assistant next week. Thank you for forcing me to find my own path. Another text follows from Mom, proud of both my daughters, one who learned to set boundaries and one who learned to respect them. The morning light turns the mountains gold, and I smile, knowing that sometimes the most loving thing you can do is refuse to be taken for granted. As I prepare for another day in pediatrics, I reflect on the ripple effects of that one crucial boundary. Jennifer's children learned that actions have consequences and hard work creates opportunities. My parents learned that love means respecting adult children's choices. My colleagues learned that protecting personal sanctuary improves professional performance. My patients' families learned that caregivers need care too. The boundary I drew around my mountain cabin created waves of positive change that continue expanding outward, teaching everyone in my orbit that healthy relationships require mutual respect, not one-sided sacrifice. The drive down the mountain to the hospital takes me past Jennifer's apartment complex, where I see her van parked outside, reliable transportation she bought with money earned through her own hard work. Past my parents' house, where the porch light glows warmly but no longer feels like a trap of guilt and obligation. Past the hotel where Jennifer's children spent 3 difficult nights learning that Aunt Sarah's kindness had limits, a lesson that ultimately served them well. Each landmark reminds me that saying no to the wrong thing creates space for the right things to flourish. Tonight, as I finish the story, snow begins falling outside my cabin windows, covering the world in pristine silence. The meditation corner, where I almost surrendered my peace, glows softly in lamplight. The art studio where I almost gave up my creative sanctuary holds paintings inspired by 2 years of protected solitude. The master bedroom that was never claimed by someone else's children remains my private retreat for processing the emotional weight of healing work. I close my journal and smile, knowing that the most revolutionary act was simply refusing to give up the sanctuary that makes everything else possible. Sometimes love means saying no, and peace requires protecting what matters most.